I can't almost even believe that the whole year is done. Where'd it go? I feel like I did nothing. Oh no, wait, there were a few dozen videos. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate this time of year. I hope you're having a great break. It's been a pretty fantastic year here at the Scale Builders Guild, and I cannot thank you all enough for watching, following along, and enjoying all the builds that we've been doing this past year. There have been a lot of projects and a lot of things happened. There's been monthly mayhem. There's been monthly mayhem. There's been one more monthly mayhem. I think we got 3 in this year, and that's not too shabby if I don't say so myself. There's also been a couple of budget build-offs, and there's been a lot of new series that we've started here that I'm really excited about going into 2020, and I think 2020 is going to be a huge year. And I really hope that you'll continue to tune in. It's been really great sharing this hobby with all of you, and I think 2020 is going to be a fantastic year, mostly thanks to you. So with that in mind, now that we're approaching the end of 2019, I did want to go back and chronicle some of the best builds from our Scale Builders Guild forum. I've got the website open right here, and if you have not participated or even seen our web forum, I really suggest you go check it out. There is a wealth of knowledge there. There are some fantastic builders there, and we are all very friendly and willing to share our knowledge with you. If you've got any questions about building tiny trucks and making them look as real as possible, there is no place better than the Scale Builders Guild web forum to check out other people's builds, to get inspiration, and to gain a ton of knowledge. It's a very welcoming and easy place to navigate, so I suggest you head over there. I'll be sure to put a link in the description down below where you can find out how to register for the forum. It's free, it's easy, and there are a lot of benefits to joining. It's not anything like a Facebook page, and we have a Facebook community, and there's a lot of great active members there too, but the web forum is just really where it's at if you want to see a build step by step, and that's what we're sort of going to take a look at today. In no particular order, the first build that I'd like to take a look at is from Neil Leisa. His forum screen name is Bonards29, and he's done an incredible job on his Manitoulou MFAB Studio 5th Gen 4Runner. This is a fantastic build from start to finish. While these bodies are 3D printed, they require a ton of finishing to get to a nice smooth finish. I didn't build mine. Pardon my noob did all the hard, heavy lifting on that one. But Neil's built a ton of MFAB bodies in the past, so he's no stranger to all the hard work that's required for finishing a body like this. But of course, he put his own unique spin on it. Rather than working with a off-the-shelf chassis, Neil did build his own independent front suspension design for an Axial SCX-10 chassis. He also did all the metal skid plates underneath, fantastic Inferno red paint, as well as a really cool custom Expedition Overland wrap. He really did his homework on this build, and it shows. It really honestly looks like, when you see final pictures of this truck, it looks pretty darn real. He also managed to find a set of machined aluminum TRD Pro wheels that really set off this body. Really made a nice Overland style 4Runner, and this thing just looks fantastic. I'm really impressed, not just with the fact that Neil did such a great job on the finish of this body, but he actually takes it outside and runs it. This is not a shelf queen, and some of the pictures and video that he's done are just incredible. I'm really, honestly, this is probably one of the finest builds I've seen in a very long time. He built an entire Expedition Overland style trailer to go with the 4Runner. So this is a complete build. In my opinion, everything you see is custom made in some way or another, and there's so much fabrication and so much hard work that went into this. It definitely deserved to be mentioned this year, and in fact, it is already in the Guild's Finest, which is our sort of sub-forum for some of the builds that we've all voted as best of the best. And that's a really great place to see all of the finest builds of the Scale Builders Guild forum members. That said, there are a ton of really great ones in the off-road build section as well. I'll be sure to link to that as well down below. Second on this list of my top 5 builds from the Scale Builders Guild this year is Joe 122's Divco Milkman. And Joe122 is also known as Scott Lempert. He is a vendor on the Scale Builders Guild, and he's responsible for some very cool styrene builds. These are all scratch built, and there are a lot of curves. I'm not sure what kind of magic or wizardry he's using to get these trucks built, but they are some pretty spectacular builds. This Divco Milkman, this is a really unique sort of hot rod, rat rod, if you will, kind of build. Scott does all of his own styrene construction himself. Lots of layering, lots of bending, lots of heat, I presume, to get some of these curves. But this is a really cool build as well. He's no stranger to doing some pretty wild and crazy builds, as evidenced by other builds on the forum, which I definitely invite you to go check out. This one, he wanted to do something really outside of the box. He also, rather than use any off-the-shelf chassis, brazed up his own chassis from some 1/4-inch Home Depot square steel. This is a really unique chassis, and he's obviously no stranger to doing some of his own custom fabrication as well. And there is video evidence of it actually driving around. So again, not a shelf queen. Most of the builds here on the Scale Builders Guild are all trucks that will get used. And that's one of the things that I think makes the Scale Builders Guild so great, that we're not beyond actually using these trucks and getting them outside. Yes, they are rolling pieces of art in most cases, but they are also functional vehicles, and that's really cool. Scott did a great job of lighting the whole interior, adding a whole bunch of really custom details, and it's really worth checking out the whole build start to finish on the forum. You get a really good sense of the chronology and the timeline of how long these things can sometimes take. Scott is a pretty magnificent, quick builder, so this actually didn't take all that long, but the level of detail and the amount of work that went into it is commendable, and that's why I think it deserved a place on the list. And it's just an honor that he shares his work with the Scale Builders Guild. Third on this list from Shop GTR is another MFAB Manitou Lou body. This is an incredible build. Corey did an immense amount of work, not only on the outside, but on the inside of this FJ55 to make it look as real as possible. This is a really great looking model, and again, with these Manitou bodies, there is a ton of prep that you have to do. Tons of sanding, all kinds of gluing, and it's like a big puzzle, these bodies, and it really is a challenge to put them together and to get them to look good. And Corey did a great job when he put this one together. He did have a specific model that he was trying to recreate. It is nice to have a full-size example to go off of. It really does make building your smaller versions so much easier when you can see all of the details. Not just a great exterior, great interior as well, nicely scaled drivers, and that's one thing that I always find people kind of fail on a little bit. The size of the driver is so important. If you have a small driver that doesn't fit properly, doesn't look like he's accurately tall to the size of the truck, it can throw the whole thing off. And for me, Corey really matched all the dimensions perfectly. He also included a miniature 87th scale truck to be the radio control truck in the radio control truck. Sort of like a radio control Inception, I guess. Lots of great attention to detail. I'm really pleased with this build, and I definitely wanted to include it in this top 5. Fourth on my list of this year's best builds comes from Ty Campbell from Tekin Racing. He designed and 3D printed this entire truck. This is a Dakar style, and it is completely scratch built by Ty himself. It is an incredible build featuring a custom 3/8 inch aluminum C-channel chassis, Tekin electronics, of course, an axial SCX-10-2 transmission with divorce transfer case, and a slew of Vanquish Products parts to build this incredible truck. The most of the body is 3D printed, and Ty did all of that at home, by the way. It's really incredible to see this truck come together, and it's got a lot of attention online, and deservedly so. It's a very cool setup. It's sort of a trailing arm front and rear setup, big military style tires, and a ton of scale details, including a full lighting kit that is ridiculous. I have to say, it's pretty amazing to see this thing lit up and blasting across the desert. It is a very cool truck. Ty spent an awful lot of time on it, and it really shows. Despite its weight and its size, it really does get moving, and he runs it on 4S for the most part, and it shows, definitely. I'm not sure if you're noticing a trend, but a lot of bodies are 3D printed these days. It is really a pretty cool medium to work in, and provided you're doing your own design and you're not just printing parts, I think that this is a really excellent way to add to this hobby. There is a ton of what I would still consider scratch building because you are building all these parts from scratch. It's not like you're getting them out of a catalog. He also built this truck to be a bit of a show rig, so it does show off all of Tekin's latest electronics and has a very cool semi-transparent screen printed roof, so you can actually see into the truck. It is really, really slick. There's a ton of documentation. He did a ton of video work to cover this build, and it's definitely worth checking out the forum to see a lot more of it. And finally, to round out this top 5, pardon my noobs, full-size crew cab Chevy. This is a weird truck, and not one that I was familiar with, but Richard is very crafty and finds a lot of really interesting trucks out there. This one is no exception. He took 2 existing RC 4-wheel drive Blazer bodies, molded them together in such an interesting way to create this crew cab 5-foot bed truck. He started with a VS410 chassis and did some math to create this really incredible truck. Richard is a master when it comes to styrene construction, and he has done some really incredible builds. This one infuses a lot of that styrene construction knowledge with some 3D printed elements as well. And the result is just awesome. It's an extended wheelbase VS410. I've seen it in person. It's really incredible to watch lumber around the trails. He also went the extra mile to make it a leaf-sprung rear end, and that kind of ruins a ton of the actual potential of the VS410, but does make it a little more accurate and a lot more fun out on the trails. His body work is incredible. His finishing is amazing. He made it look very old, very weathered, and it's just a fantastic big square body truck to look at. It's a really nice color too, this sort of, I call it key lime, I guess, with some rust finishes underneath. It really is a spectacular build and worthy of the top 5 of 2019. I invite you to go check it out. There's so much information way beyond what I can describe on this video on the forum, and it's definitely a good place to start. It looks really great at Smiggin's Folly in these photos, and just watching this kind of truck come together is really amazing. And even more of a pleasure for me was being able to see it in real life. So there you have it. That's the top 5 builds from the Scale Builders Guild forum for 2019. I had an amazing time putting this list together, and I cannot thank all of our forum members for contributing such amazing projects year after year. We have a really great community here at the Scale Builders Guild, and one that I would hope you would consider joining. If you're looking to get into scale building, there's no better place to start than our forum, and I do hope that you will come and check it out. Thank you so much for an incredible year. You've all been fantastic viewers, and I really wouldn't do this without you. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again in 2020.